Okay, that dungeon's done. Now we're gonna go kill Andariel in hell because I want to cry. I haven't explained this yet, but I have that alt switch is actually like a plus 50 magic find thing that I tried making a main weapon. Let's actually show that off because I haven't even shown this yet. Yeah, it's this. It's really bad. I thought it would be better, but it's not. I thought that Zeal would have made it actually usable, and it's not even close. But yeah, man, I don't deal with, like, crazy, weird people very well. They make me just very uncomfortable, and I have very low tolerances for it. There's certain behaviors in public that just weird me out. Like, there's this one guy that I was just going to get, like, shoes or something, and he's like a popular homeless man in the area. His name is Downtown Dan. And I think everybody I know has had a Downtown Dan experience, and they all are very awkward and weird. So, anyways, I remember... fucking douchehole. I hope poison kills your ass. No, not jail. I don't want to go to jail again. Basically, I like how I said waypoints are very important, but I never got the jail one because it's shitty, and I don't care about it. I'm not emotionally invested enough for it. Anyways, I was getting shoes, and he just walks up to me, and I see him, because I got out of my car and I'm walking, because I actually am weird. I like to park my car usually away from, like, parking spaces, because I just want to, like, take a little walk, you know? Like, just to feel the wind on my hair, and feel like a sexy badass, and... yeah. So... I'm like walking to the store, and this guy, like I said, I don't know who the fuck this is. They're just a person on the street as far as I'm concerned, and this is why it's creepy. Because he just sticks his arms out and he's like yell talking, like really loud, and I can't stand when people do that. It's really uncomfortable. And he just goes, "Hi, friend!" And he's like got his arms out and he's walking towards me, and I just say, "I don't know who the fuck you are, leave me the fuck alone and get away from me. And if you get near me, I will hit you in the face." And he like goes, "Okay, friend!" And then he does like a 180 and just walks away. And I was like, and everyone's looking at me like I've done something horrible, and I don't know what I've done. And I go into work the next day at my old job, and they're like, "Oh, you probably yelled at Downtown Dan. He's like the nicest guy ever. You're an asshole. Seth hates homeless people. He's a terrible person." And I'm like, I don't know what that fucking guy had going on with him. My roommate also had an experience with him too. Like, he's creepy. I don't like homeless people at all. They make me very, very uncomfortable. Like, I don't think that's a bad prejudice to have either. It's very... like, I've worked in public service for years, and I can tell you from experience that there's a lot of not, "Oh, they're just sad lost souls." No, not all of them are. There's very few that are. I respect the people that actually choose to contribute to society and try to, like, empower their life and not just do drugs and be shitty. And if you're like, "Oh, well, that's not true," it's like 80%. It's a proven fucking statistic that 80% of homeless people are alcoholics or drunks or drug addicts or all the above. Like, if you've ever been to Eugene in Oregon, oh my god, you will go, "Holy shit, okay, now it makes total sense." There's like just, actually Portland's not as bad. It used to be, well, it probably is now. I haven't been to Portland in years. I generally don't go to Portland ever. The only reason I've ever been to Portland was for, like, surgeries when my mom had cancer, so I don't really have any reason to go there, obviously, so, yeah, like, Portland is, it's full of hipsters, but that's not as bad, I guess. I can tolerate hipsters, they're just weird people. Actually, I don't even think people use the term hipster anymore. I think that's just gone. It's a dead word. Like... I don't know, you go to Eugene, though, and there's just, like, fucking globs of homeless people just fucking wandering around, shitting everywhere, and, like, yelling at people and trying to fight each other. It's fucking weird. I remember, me and my roommate went to this, like, meeting thing with, like, another realtor place or whatever, And on the way back, we stopped at the stoplight. I was like, oh, look, those two dudes are going to fight each other. And they had, like, this pissed-off, angry posture, and they were just, like, looking like they were going to hit each other, and, like, yo, man, what you fucking doing? Like, that, like, kind of shitty, dumb white boy posture that everybody in, like, downtown Oregon has. Like, and so they like, storm up to each other, and then they hugged. Like, at a stoplight. Like, at a crosswalk. And I was like, wait, what? Like, just, I don't know. And then I've met, like, loads of homeless people that have just wandered into concerts and tried to be like, you guys like girls? You want some beer? I'll show you my kicks. I'll show you my kicks. Like, I'm dead fucking serious. It's really uncomfortable, and it weirds me the fuck out. And, like, oh, it's just, it makes me so like, we had, like, an instance at work that it was like that too, and it was, long story short, the guy died, like, and it was not a huge surprise. No, I didn't kill him, but, like, it was, he fucking, oh, he was just a mess, and he was roaming the area, and it's like, when they start roaming the area, they start telling their other quote-unquote friends, and then there was, like, this big camp of them. It's just, oh, it's just bad. It's just not fun. I don't like seeing it. It makes me uncomfortable. And I just wish we had, like, a better system to deal with it. And I've heard people say, oh, well, there's only so many things in the shelters. I'm like, yeah, I totally get it. It's just one of those things that I wish we could do something better about. Like, I don't know. In Oregon, we passed this, like, legislative, I think I voted yes on, I can't even remember, that was, I think it was like your tax dollars would go to, like, a funding program that would, like, if someone got arrested on drug charges, they'd be like, oh, fuck, I don't even know, like, they'd have to go through, like, a mandatory, like, drug counseling or something. And I don't have enough proof of the data or knowledge of how it works to tell you how it works and if it works at all, so I have no idea. As far as I'm aware of, that's a thing that's in the system, and I don't know. There's, like, some dude that, like, just is in the same spot every day, and I'm like, why can't someone just, like, be like, here, go to a shelter and have a life again? I hate it. It makes me so sad. Like, I've had too many bad experiences with homeless people in the past to be like, they're all just misguided. It's like, no, just some people just are weird. I used to work with a guy that came in every single day and yelled at, like, for, like, 2 years. He'd sit in the corner and yell at, like, thin air. And he said, Johnny! Johnny! Like, all the time. And he reeked of, like, BO and gross. And we had so many complaints about him, like, every single day from everybody, like, staff and everything. And it took him pulling a guy by the shirt because he wouldn't take his money because he was a racist douchebag. And he, like, he's like, I'll fucking kill you! And he grabbed him by the fucking front of the shirt and was, like, pulling him over the counter. I'll fucking kill you! I'll fucking, like, screaming. And, like, scared the shit out of, like, 20 people. And then there was, like, another instance where another guy, like, a week later, we had to kick him out because he kept, like, coming in and being like, I'm not gonna kill anybody, I don't know, the commanding officer. I'm like, Jesus, why? This is so horrible. And it, like, makes you just wish there was a better system. Or, like, the amount of times I'd get to work and then there'd be, like, a homeless dude just sleeping in front of the door or inside the dumpster. Scared the shit out of a couple of coworkers with that sort of stuff, too. Like, it's just really sad. I just wish there was a better system, because I feel like the current systems in place are... Jesus! I feel like they're a little borked, and they don't work as well as they're intended. It's well intended, I'm sure, but from what I've seen, it doesn't really work as much as I feel like people wish it did. Because I love that. I'd love it if, like, there was a... For those of you who don't know, in Oregon we have a massive meth problem. As in, like, it's just unbelievable. I'm gonna fucking punch that son of a bitch. And it's just an epidemic of just mess. And yeah, it sucks, dude. Like, we don't really have any systems in place to get rid of it, and it just keeps coming back, and then we all have to, like... It's a giant mess, man. I wish Oregon was better than what it is. If you go to rural Oregon, it's not as bad, obviously, but I wish. I'm trying to tempt people to go to our state. It's wonderful. It's got the pot. Apparently that's the only thing people go here for anymore. But yeah, rural Oregon's wonderful. It's fantastic. It's some of the greatest shit you'll ever see on the planet. It's so beautiful. And then you'll see a crazy homeless dude shitting in the middle of the street. I've actually seen numerous, like, crazy homeless people, mainly women, surprisingly, just pull down their pants and just shit in the middle of, like, a fucking crosswalk. I'm like, why do you do that? Can you just not? Like, please? And I feel so bad. Because when I was a kid, I was like, Mom, that person's crazy. She, like, backhanded me and told me, no, don't say that, other people have it worse. I'm like, well, shouldn't we fix that? Like, yeah, it was an experience when I was a kid. So, yeah, I don't know. I just wish we could do something better. It really makes me sad. I hate it. It makes me uncomfortable, too, because... I don't know, it's like... Yeah, I always tell people, like, well, they don't really live in the same mentality as like, standard society. Fucking the man, they're not controlled by the man. So there's people that, like, that are homeless that just do it because they don't have a choice, yeah. Like, they get evicted. Like, we have a lot of fires and stuff that do that in Oregon a lot. But... I don't know. Then there's like the crazy ones, like I live off my own stuff and I kill to survive, and it's like, you're fucking crazy, and they act like they're above the law, and it's really fucking scary. Like, I've been shot at because of people like that. Actually, it's really fucking scary. I wish people understood how it's not just cruelty for cruelty's sake. It's like, no, I've got a lot of reasons to dislike people in general. So it's yeah, Oregon, man. Get over here. Jump on in. We got the pot and crazy people. That's about all Oregon's good for anymore. Well, and lumber industry. It's Andariel! Yay, I made it there. Cool. Yay. I don't deserve to be here. And I probably can't kill her either, so... we'll just have to see. Oh my god, why is it gotta be this? Of all the mobs it could be, it's gotta be this. Oh shit, I just don't want to deal with any of that. I don't think I can handle that. That's not a fun experience, like, at all. I don't think I can kill that. Okay, I could probably chip away this stuff. Maybe. I'm not gonna spend 8 years killing Andariel. I want her dead. I want your loot. I want it now. No. Oh, fuck my butt. No! Okay, let's lure her into here. Oh, they're gonna be in here the whole time. God damn it, how am I gonna farm this? If I was a fucking sorceress, she'd be dead 10 years ago. Actually, other instances of, like, just the weird, crazy homeless people that have happened in, like, just everyday interactions recently with me. It was like, I went to go get my coat, like, fixed up because I got a new coat a while back. And I'm just like, this guy watched and waited for me to get out of my car, and I could just tell he was, like, staring at me from, like, my car. I was like, that guy's gonna fucking... Yep. And then as soon as I, like, got out of my car, he doesn't just walk up to me, he fucking sprints up to me. So I'm immediately, I'm already on edge. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm about to fight somebody, cool. And I'm just trying to get my fucking coat fixed. And, like, he's like, hey man, could I have like $20? And I'm like, no, don't. He's like, I need food. I'm like, I don't care. And just walked past him. And then he just, like, stood there for a minute, and then he walked up to another person and just did the same thing. I'm like, that is eerie that someone just sits there and waits for someone to visibly start their approach to go into a building or something and just do that. It was the way he, like, bolted towards me that scared the shit out of me, because I'm like, I'm gonna die. Like, Oh, it's fucking awful. I hate it. It makes me just so nervous. I get so uncomfortable by shit like that. I don't really have social anxieties either. I do this. I don't think that really makes me a socially anxious person, if that makes sense. It takes a lot more... I'd say it takes more courage to speak on the internet than it does in person. But, yeah, like, he just made me so fucking anxious. Like, it's the way he, like, sprinted at me at, like, full fucking force, just ready to, like, ask me for money, and then just got really, I need food, like, or whatever he said. I was like, I don't care. I don't really ever carry cash on me anyway, so, like, what am I think I've done it one time. It was like a month ago. I was like, hey, man, can you spare a guy $5 for dinner tonight? And I was just like, I have an entire shopping cart full of groceries. I'm not gonna say no, and I have $5. He's like, I'm like, you know what? Sure. And he's like, God bless you, man. You're the best. And I'm like, yeah, thanks. Please don't tell your homeless friends that I have money, because I don't want to do that. Okay. So I look like I can kind of face tank Andariel? I mean, she's still pretty beefy. She's probably gonna kill me. I can feel it. Let's not... That poison is nasty. She really does fucking mess you up. I should really get Durga for this, but... whatever. Get over here, Scorpion said calmly. That's not what he said at all. She's gonna just lame me out with poison, and I'm gonna get annoyed. She's really not that hard to fight. It's just the fact that she has so much poison damage that your health gets, like... Yeah, she does that. She, like, sets you up to get hit. That's what I was just gonna say that it happened. It's the first time I've dived to Andariel in a long time. But... yeah, I don't know, man. There's just some shit in, like, public that just makes me really uncomfortable. It's like when people are hitting their kids in stores. It just makes me really... it just makes me want to get mad. And I try not to. It's... I always say when someone says, oh, you can't tell me how to be a parent, you're not my boss of parenting, and I'm like, you're probably a shitty person already. Like, it's one of those things you can just make that blanket assumption it's usually right. Which is really sad. I don't mean just like a mom going, oh, Billy, you don't need popsicles. I mean like the woman that's like yanking their kid up in the air like 3 feet off the ground, like their kid's screaming their head off and like telling them they're a piece of shit in public. That's really uncomfortable. I would hope that's uncomfortable to most people. Like, that makes sense to me. Oh my god, Andariel, can you just die? No, she's gonna kill me. I'm typing. Hang on. Andariel, you can wait. Fucking, she dropped garbage. Damn you. Damn you, Andariel. It's gonna be tankards. I already know it. It's just what it is. This fish. I don't know, people like that, I knew it, I was like, it's gonna be tankards. It's like, yeah, people like that just make me want to vomit. They're always like older than my age. I'm 27. They're always like in their like 40s and 50s. They always look like frogs, you know what I mean? Their skin's all gross and like saggy and weird. I don't know. It's starting to sound like a weird fan fiction. But, like, it's true. God, there's just some people you see, you're like, oh, you're just weird. Like, you can just feel it, and it sucks, because your instincts tell you not to be that way, but your body says, danger. That's pretty shitty. It's like people that, like, walk up to you and try and be like, excuse me, sir, you have time for Jesus? And I'm like, no. Like, don't you care about your immortal soul? And I'm like, yeah, I already got that figured out. Sorry, dude. And they like, don't you want to donate money to orphans? And I'm like, no, not really. I don't know who you are. And then they stand there and they look at you like you're a terrible person. And I'm like, I don't know what you expect of me, dude. I don't have anything for you or nice to say to you, so please leave me alone. I don't know. People like that make me really nervous. But like I said, I hope more normal people can be that way too. Like, yeah, it's kind of weird when someone's like barreling towards you at like full sprint asking you for fucking money. It's really strange. Oh, God, do I even want to try to do this dungeon in this video? Let's kill Radamit because Andariel went so well.
I bet you wonder how this town manages to stay safe.
It just does. Let's see if I can kill Radamit. I'd love to see if I can do that. I don't think this... Very first thing that comes down here and just hits the shit right out of me. Okay, cool. Let's leave that alone, because that's clearly not a friendly thing to fight. Actually, I think there's only one time I've ever kind of laughed at someone when they were, like, not manhandling their kid, but, like, some kid, like, I don't even remember what they said. They were something, like, making fun of, it was either me or somebody else, because they had, like, a long, like, that guy's wearing a dress, and then, like, the mom just, like, slapped the kid over the head and said, "Don't say that, you dumbass." It's like, that was kind of funny. But he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," like, he at least acknowledged that he said something stupid. That's about it. I don't know. But I've heard people, like, go off of tangents about how they're like, "Oh, I beat the shit out of my kid in public, like, it's no big deal." And I'm like, that's really creepy. I don't know why you think that's something you need to tell people in a good way either. It's not good. Most people go, do I need to, like, step in here? No, I don't know. Some people are like, "Oh, don't tell me how to be a parent," and I'm like, someone has to, because apparently you're doing a bad job. I don't know. I let people do their own thing, though, for the most part in public. As long as they're not hurting other people or themselves, I generally don't really care. I don't know. I try to leave everybody alone, let them do their own thing. Their problems aren't my problems, and I don't want my problems to be their problems. I don't know, if I'm having a bad day in public, I'm also really normal to people. I don't get, like, Dimensional Blade! It's low quality, I can't make use out of that. Well, I could, but it doesn't... It's not a good idea. That's gonna one-hit me if I'm not careful. This is probably not the greatest spot to look at things. Yeah, it's not good. I'd rather get a better item for that. And actually look up the socket punch rune word. Or the cube recipe. All the noise in this game are just so good. Hey, look, it's Dead Razans. Anyways. Yeah, I don't know, I don't interact with people in public very often. Unless they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, I'm pretty good, I guess. I don't know. Sometimes I'll tell people, like, I'm not one of those people who's like, "Oh, I'm doing great," as I look depressed or something. I don't do that. I'm like, I'm not doing too great. Like, I don't tell people, like, random strangers my day-to-day problems, but I do acknowledge that some people get weirded out when someone just says, "I'm fine," and they look really, really not okay, because that is kind of weird. But I don't know, I don't generally tell people my... I hate when people ask me, "What's your plan for the day?" I'm like, I'm gonna go home and, like, clean the house. And then they look at you like, "Wow, that's really not that exciting." And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. I don't have very fantastical, exciting plans. I generally don't. I hate when someone, like, in public also doesn't talk to you, though, at the same time. It's really awkward. Like, if you're at checkout and then someone's like, "Yeah," and then just, like, stares at you, like, really awkwardly, and doesn't really say anything. It's kind of unpleasant. I know not everybody has to have perfect social skills, but it always kind of strikes me as weird. I don't know. Everything makes me think people are weird, but there's some things... Do these have mana burn? Oh, that one does. Okay, let's just not deal with you then. You're probably a hurdy, and I don't want to... Oh, shit. I might have to go that way. I don't mind this dungeon as much, but it can be pretty assy. I don't think beetles can spawn down here. I'm pretty sure they can't. I think... I'm not sure, don't quote me on this. I don't think cold immune spawn down here either. Cold or lightning immune, one of the two. Damn it, I might have to go through there. I don't know. I don't generally like to make people in public feel bad or whatever either. There's very few instances where I ever, like, actually genuinely tell someone they're being stupid. It's mainly only been during COVID, which isn't a surprise, because I've dealt with a lot of stupid fucking crazy people during this whole thing, and I don't want to talk about it. A lot of it was just really fucking psychotic and crazy, and I was like, I'm just gonna tell you to fuck off, because that's the only thing that can come to mind. And I hate people like, oh, you could have made them angry and shot you. I'm like, oh well, at least I would have fucking gotten them in trouble for shooting someone in public. I mean, that's a terrible, terrible point, but it's true to me. I'm like, well shit, man, if someone's gonna do something crazy to me, at least they did it, and then they know they're crazy, and I'm not the asshole. I don't need to go on the internet to validate it. Like, I don't know, I have no problem telling someone to fuck off in public, because I don't know them, and I don't care. If they're doing something weird, I'm not gonna let them keep doing it. I just don't, I don't know, I don't like letting shit like that go if it's really weird. There's a limit. If someone's following me around and they're just being creepy, I'll tell them, hey, can you stop? Like, that's just one thing. If someone's kid's, like, running around, I'm not gonna be like, fucking people shouldn't have children. I hate people like that. They make me angry, actually. Not the people that let their kids run around. I'm talking about the people that say that people shouldn't have children. It's like, no, you probably just don't have the skills to deal with children, and it makes you uncomfortable. It's usually the case. I don't know. There is some people that just shouldn't have kids, but it's like when kids... I fucking hate when people forget kids just run around. That's what they do. They have, like, infinite energy, and they're happy. Let them be whatever, man. Don't need to, like, yell at their parents and call their parents bad parents because they're running around or whatever. I mean, when I was a kid, I didn't do that, but that's because I was really sheltered and really, like, boring. I just mainly stood next to my mom or dad and was like, hi, I'm here. I didn't really, like, go crazy and fucking, like, run around and, like, get lost in coat racks and shit like some kids do. I don't know, but I understand why kids do that, because they just do. Kids are weird. I've babysat before, too. It's like, yeah, they just do weird stuff. Like, they're gonna do it. It doesn't matter if their parents are the best parents or the worst parents. Kids are still gonna do their own thing. You can't really control that. I don't believe that your kid should be on a leash, but I think common sense is a very important thing to have when it comes to parenting. You don't want to lose sight of your kid. That's a very important one. Like, you do not want to lose sight of your kid in public. Here's a fun story, alright? This is a true story, alright? Hope you're ready for this, because it's fucking hilarious. As an adult, it's funny. At the time, no. So when I was like, I must have been 3 or 4, I don't know how old I was. And, I don't have enough gold for pots? What the fuck? Wow, I must be broke. Oh, God. Anyways, so when I was like 3 or 4, maybe, I'm guessing 3, because I want to say I was 3, and my dad, we went to this hardware store, and my dad just thought it would be funny to, like, lose track of me. So I don't know what he did. I must have, like, turned around for 1 second and he, like, snuck off. And I remember this really well, and it scared the shit out of me because it was horrifying, because I was, like, really little in a big-ass store. And, so... Oh my god, what the fuck? That is so much damage. Oh my god. I look up, I pull his pant leg, like, hey dad, what's that? I didn't say daddy, by the way. I was a very dad and mom kid. I looked down on the kids that said that. I was like, fucking mommy and daddy, what are you, 5? I wish I was kidding. Anyways, and I look up and I'm like, I pull the guy's pant leg, because this is the 90s. Every guy wore fucking, like, 2 things. It was blue jeans or whatever. My dad always wore blue jeans. And I like, pull his pant like, hey, Dad, what's this? Like, it is what we're looking for? And this guy, this is not my father. This is not anybody I know. And he's just, he stares down at me like I got his attention. And he's got glasses, a full-on, like, gray beard, and, like, he had, like, this big-ass mustache. Keep in mind, my dad can't grow facial hair to save his life. And my dad at this time was, like, 20... I think he was, like, my age at least, 27 or so. And this guy... And my dad doesn't have glasses either, so I know this is not my parent, and I'm shitting myself, like thinking, oh my god, that's not my dad, what the hell happened? I thought I was dreaming, and I freaked out, and I started screaming. And the next thing I know is my dad comes out laughing, and my mom is like yelling at him, like, God damn it, Kevin, that's not funny, whatever. And he's like, I thought it would be funny. Like, that, Jesus, that scared the shit out of me, because this looks like a walrus. This is not my father. Who are you? I don't know you. He wasn't mad or anything. He didn't even say it. He just looked at me and I was like, that's not my dad. That scared the shit out of me. Like, that was weird. That scared me so bad. And he never did it again, because I think my mom threatened to divorce him, which theoretically they should have. But, you know, that fucking scared me senseless. Like, I can't express to you how horrifying that is when you're that young, because your brain is only used to like 3 or 4 places, right? You're gonna go to like your house, and you've got like maybe your grandparents or whatever, you know, whatever. You've got like your 2 or 3 places you know of. You don't like have a job, you can't drive, I hope. And I don't know, you have like areas you go to because you're a kid and you're used to it. So when kids go to like, you know, Walmart or whatever, they're like, oh cool, wow, look at all this stuff, I don't know what this is, yeah, cool. That's why they just get so excited. It's not because they're hyperactive either. It's just, well, they could be, but that's like kids just do dumb shit, like they crawl on top of stuff because they can do it. If they think, oh, that looks really neat, what's this? And they pick it up and they break it. They don't mean to do it. Kids are pretty, like, gray morally. They don't have, like, the same mentality as adults. They just lose control because, like, oh, cool, I'm in an environment that's new and exciting, ooh. Like, think of when you were a kid and you went into a fucking, like, hardware store. That was the coolest shit ever. And if you didn't go into a hardware store as a kid, well, you missed out. It was so cool. I love going into hardware stores. They're fucking badass. They make me feel like a man. I go in there and there's, like, fucking 80s power metal blaring all the time and, like, fucking, oh, it's so fucking cool, man. It's like the bomb. I love going into hardware stores because I have like 0 personal skill when it comes to that. So whenever I have the ability to go into a hardware store and feel like I'm just kind of, I don't know, it's like I feel like I know what I'm doing, but I don't. And it's really cool. I love that feeling. Yeah, fix me up, Lysander. Fuck me up good. Like, I love going into hardware stores, but like, yeah, it's like going into a hardware store, fucking aisle of nails. Oh, it's so cool. There's just nails and shit all over the wall. I want to put my hands in there and just, like, you know, kids don't do that because they're stupid. They do it because they're curious, not because they're malicious. It's very different. So when people, like, fucking, like, oh, fucking parents should be in jail because their child's like jumping up and down because they're excited about something. It's like, you fucking dick. Why don't you grow a child? I don't know. I got angry there and I had to think of something that was genuinely funny so I didn't sound like a complete psychopath, I guess. I don't know, it just pissed me off when people like, oh, fucking kids are just out of control, their parents must be bad. And they have like the normal parents that everyone has at some point in their life. I don't know, my parents didn't let me do stupid shit because I had overbearing mom, and like my dad was just kind of like a man-child, so that's why he'd do shit like lose me in stores on purpose. Although there's like a couple of things my dad's done like that. He once told me, no joke, he like told me as a kid that we were gonna get a truck or something, I don't know. Actually, it was a truck, I think, because my dad just wanted one. And so, like, keep in mind, my dad's not a redneck. It's just because he wanted a truck for, like, moving stuff around, because he loves building shit, like, that's his thing. My dad, like, will build everything under the sun if he gets a chance to put his hands on it. So, my dad is like, now, tell your mom, like, it's like a fucking sitcom moment. My dad, like, told me to tell my mom that my grandpa wanted it, and therefore we should have it because he said so, because my mom liked him. So I just had to tell my dad, okay, and then like my mom asked me and I completely forgot. Like, oh yeah, Dad said Grandpa wanted this, but I don't really know if he's serious. Like, and I was like 5, and she got pissed, like, what the hell are you buying this for? We're gonna go into debt. Like, my dad would try to use me to do shit like that because he just wanted to do it. It was horrible. Or he'd be like, oh, you know, it'd be really funny is if we got, like, Seth to watch boxing with us, and, like, he started using our slang. So he, like, taught me a bunch of, like, 90s, like, dude bro things to say, like, oh, that's tits, like, as a joke. And my mom got so fucking mad at him for it. She was like, Kevin, you can't teach him shit like that. He's gonna grow up to be maladjusted and play video games on YouTube. Well, that part didn't happen, but she did say that it was very damaging towards me as a person. It didn't. I just thought, that's funny, my dad's letting me say bad words. Like, I remember he just thought it was hilarious. One of my exes thought that was funny too, to go around my kid's friend and swear. And I was like, why are you trying to make his kids swear? You're fucking weird. Like, I had like this flashback moment of it was kind of funny. But like, then my brain goes, wait a minute, that's not a good idea at all. Like, it's so funny to me that like my dad just, he didn't really not want children, but he just doesn't have the social skills and equipment in his brain to like understand that like you can't just tell your kids to go up to like women in public and say that's tits, because it's not cute. It's kind of shitty on you at that point. Like, yeah, my dad just doesn't have that kind of like long-term thinking that most parents probably have. He'd be like, you want to watch Headbangers Ball? I'm like, sure, why not? My dad's like 90% of the reason why I like heavy metal, by the way. And my mom, too. They both like heavy metal. I don't speak to my mom anymore, for the record, but... Yes. Am I still a broke bitch? Yes. Broke bitch mountain, okay. So, like, yeah, I remember... My dad also just didn't believe that, like, certain things were just not smart to show kids. He'd be like, you want to watch RoboCop? And I was like, sure. Or he'd be like, you want to watch Terminator? It's like, sure, it's a scary movie, but we'll watch it. And I was like, alright. My dad just has zero concept of, like, the idea that some things are just not meant for kids. And it's just really funny. He'd be like, oh, you want to drink a beer? And my mom, like, yelled at him. I was, like, 8 years old, and I was like, okay. And then he just handed me, like, a pale ale. I can remember it was a pale ale. And he's like, here, you want to try a beer? And he handed it to me. And my mom yelled at him because she told him I was going to be an alcoholic if I drank beer. And my school, actually, like, because I was in kindergarten or first grade, I think, later on. And, so if you don't know what the DARE program is, it was basically an attempt to scare the shit out of children. That if you ever drank beer or, like, smoked a cigarette, you were inherently a horrible human being. So, I remember... And this is why I was saying my dad's just fucking hilarious to listen to as an adult, but as a kid this was horrifying. So they told us that, like, in this presentation and like this assembly we had that day, that if your parents drink a beer every night, your parents are alcoholics and you should tell them no and tell them to get help or something, like, you know, like most people say, those kinds of things. And so of course, being like 8 or 9 and impressionable as shit, I'm like, oh, the school can't tell me anything wrong and inaccurate. And so I like told my dad, he's like, hey Seth, can you get me a beer from the fridge? Because my dad he wasn't an alcoholic, he just drank a beer like every other day. Like, he's not an alcoholic at all. So but in my mind, I'm like, oh no, the school has told me that if a parent says this, they're an alcoholic. So I remember this very clearly. I told my dad, no, I'm not going to get you a beer because you're an alcoholic and I can't, you need help, Dad. And he's like fucking pissing himself laughing almost. And I'm like, it's not funny. It's not funny. The school says you're an alcoholic. And he's like, I'm not an alcoholic, Seth. And I'm like, oh, yes, you are. The school says you'd say that. And so fucking... I remember he was like, I'm getting more scrolls and shit because I don't want to die on Radamant. And he's like, yeah, Seth, I'm just a big ol' alky. And he's like, I'm like, oh, you're an alcoholic. I mean, you said it. It's the first thing that you need to do is say it. And he's just like fucking laughing his ass off. But in my mind, he's being 100% serious. It was awful. And I remember he's like, just get me a damn beer. And I was like, fine. And so I like, because he put him in like the crisper drawer for some reason. And so I just grabbed a beer and I shook it up and handed it to him and walked away. And he's like, why'd you do that? And I'm like, because you're an alcoholic, Dad. It's just fucking, yeah. I wish I was kidding when I said that Dare and their attempts at trying to get kids to, like, tell their parents they were alcoholics and shit. It didn't work, and it was very, very, very stupid. Because I remember, like, thinking as well, like, yeah, what if I just want a beer? I'm not an alcoholic or anything, what if I just want a beer? And this kind of happened when I'm gonna die. I can just feel it. It's gonna fucking wombo combo me. Oh, Jesus, 2 HP? Really? I remember that when I was in school, they didn't want us to, like, even consider, like, thinking about drinking beer, because if you considered it, you were an alcoholic as well. They also said that if your parents, like, smoked cigarettes, they needed to get help, and you needed to tell them that they need to stop. And I'm like, you know, that just pisses people off, and that doesn't really do anything. I remember asking a teacher once, what if I want to have children? And then they just looked at me like, well, we don't know what to tell you if you want children, so we're just gonna assume you don't want children. I'm gonna die, yep. I need gold because I'm a broke ass bitch, and I need it. It's not fair. Yeah, my school is really bad about just trying to tell us basic concepts, like, what if you... Actually, when I was in, like, high school, I was starting to get completely desensitized to, like, that kind of thinking, you know? And I remember there was, like, a day where I was like, okay, so if STDs are so bad and they only come from sex, what actually causes STDs? Because it's making it seem like all they come from is, like, just only, like, your bodies just don't, like... I probably elegantly worded it better. But I was like, yeah, how does it work? Because does your body just say, no, you're not married, and then, like, you just spit out, like, diseases? Is that how it works? Or are they just inherent to the human body? And they really didn't know how to explain that. And it was really funny. Because I'm like, yeah, like, it basically just made, like, okay, if you're married and you practice safe sex, do you just not get STDs ever again then? Is that how it works? Is it selective of your body? Like, because they taught it in a very stupid way that was, like, basically if you had sex at all, like, outside of marriage or unprotected, you were instantly going to get STDs. And I'm like, well, how do you get them? What if you have, like, perfect bathing habits and you don't have sex with people? Then you're not going to have an STD, right? And they're like, well, maybe. And then I was like, okay, so, like, what if you... Oh, there was another question I asked that was really funny, and they got really angry at me for it. It was something like, oh god, like, why would you need to ask somebody if you've both never had sex to have papers, or, like, ask them their medical history? If they've both never had sex, you would not have STDs. Why would you need to ask them that? And then they got, like, the teacher got, like, really nervous because they knew that I was right. Like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. It's a really contradictive statement. It's like, we've never done anything, but just in case you have... Do you... It's really impersonal and awkward, and I get that public education can't handle sex in any context at all anymore. Like... Oh my god. What the hell was that shit? Oh my god. Fucking one shot by dried dick jerky, whatever. Like, it was so fucking funny to watch teachers just crumble. And it's not like I just did it because I was an asshole. It was because I really didn't want to just have teachers tell people things that were just either wrong or they didn't have the answer for. And they just didn't. Yeah. Quote your Army of Darkness because you're an original character and you have original lines. Oh my god, that is... I didn't even read all those procs till it hit me. That was not fun. I really just want Radamant to die so I can end this video and start farming. But... yeah, they didn't really explain anything when I was in school. they're like, don't touch, don't have anything that's not consensual sex, otherwise you'll die. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Like, I understand the point, obviously, but it's just like, what is, like, does jerking off give you STDs? Do they happen from that? Like, can you do that? And they just didn't have any, like, answer for it. And I'm like, fucking, that's the problem I have with education. It's like, everyone's got a solution for the answer until a question gets asked by a dumb fucking teenager, and then they just don't know what to do. I have, like, negative 2,000 gold for that. Are you fucking serious? I want my man back. I just want to kill Radamit so I can move on and get my goddamn skill points and kill shit better. Asshole. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. Like, when I was in school, they just didn't... Like, I love how everyone's so comfortable about talking about sexuality, but not actual sex. It's really funny. I'm like, that's the biggest problem we have as a society at times. Like, yeah, they were all about that when I was in school, but if you ask someone, okay, what if you want to have sex with, like, 50 people? They're like, don't do it, you'll die. I'm like, okay. I don't doubt it, but I'm just... You always have to remember, kids are dumb, and they'll say dumb shit because they think it's funny. Like... But then again, some kids just need, like, someone to challenge what they're saying, because it's just part of life. Okay, Radamit, you need to die. Like, really badly. Because you've been alive for, like, way too long, and I'm tired of you. I'm tired of going back and forth to town, getting fucking pots and scrolls, and decursing. Can we just move on? I want to get my points and go! I'm tired of being fucking frozen and poisoned. You fucking asshole piece of shit. I'm losing sentence abilities at this point. I've been in this dungeon for like 20 minutes. I just want him dead. I just want him to die. I don't care about his drops, I just want him to die at this point. Yeah, stay away from me, please. Actually, that thing might need to die because it's cursed, and that might be a better idea, but you know what? I don't give a shit. There is so much shit in this room that is just irritating the fuck out of me, and I want it all to just drop dead. It's like when I said in health class, why are we watching Philadelphia on the topic of homosexuality and AIDS? Like, that has nothing to do with AIDS as a virus or how it works. This is just a movie with Tom Hanks and Antonio Banderas. I don't think that's educational, that's just... We watched a movie that anybody and their mother could watch. Like, that's not really the sub... It's more of a film about sexual harassment, if anything. It's not actually a film about, like, AIDS. Like... They just say, oh, then Tom Hanks dies, and look at this sad, it's sad. I'm like, this doesn't have to do with anything about AIDS. Like, I'm not saying we needed to watch someone get, like, fucking turbo AIDS and die, but still. It was very odd to me that they couldn't just, like...
I can't.
Yeah, I can't. It's just weird to me that they just couldn't, like, do a demonstration on how AIDS worked or what it did and how to treat it. It's like, you're gonna get it, you're gonna die. And it's like, isn't AIDS more manageable now? And they're like, don't say that. Then the kids will want to have the butt sex or something. I don't know. It's like education systems are just not handled for any of these situations of just dumb shit teenagers. Not all dumb shit teenager questions are dumb either. Sometimes they're just genuine. Like, I remember we had to have a cop come in for a health class, that same class too, and they asked us, like, they said, okay, everyone put your questions in a hat and the officer is going to anonymously read your questions. And 90% of them were about, what if I want to smoke cigarettes and I'm already smoking cigarettes? What if I'm doing this and I just do this? And then the teacher was, like, looking at everyone like she knew who was saying it. And I'm like, this shouldn't be funny, that the teacher knows all this shit and they just don't know what to do, or they don't have the skills to, like, tell them. They have to have a fucking cop come in and explain it, because that's how bad the education system was where I went. It was good times. My dad also graduated from the same school without a history credit and a math credit. Yeah. He was gonna go to college. It was good times. So... I fucking am so tired of this dungeon. I'm gonna go farm and not be in this dungeon ever again. So I'm tired. Go home. If you're not at home, go home. If you are at home, go outside and go back home. Be like this thing. What is this? Is this a scarab? I've never noticed this here. This is funny. Are they in here too? Wow, look at all these things in the game that I never have noticed are in here because they're just not worth my damn time. Look at all this world building and shit. Look at this man. Oh, it's Gaglash. I didn't even know his name. I didn't even know I could talk to him. Can I talk to you?
I don't know why you...
They say that the taste
Good day.
This public house used to be quite lively. They say that the taste of vengeance is...
No, they don't. They don't say that at all. Don't lie to me. I don't know why that's really funny, but it is.
Graves seems to have this place locked down nice and tight.
I'm done. I'm gonna go.